Hi everyone, today's build video is my build for the Diecast Mafia's Jeep Challenge. For this I'm going to be using this Hot Wheels 57 Jeep FC. My initial idea is to build some kind of shooting platform on the back, turning this into an escort vehicle which will help those travel across the wastelands. First thing I want to do is switch out the wheels for these Big Air Bel Air wheels from my bits box, and these Anfield Industries Gaslands large off-road wheels. These are 14.5mm in diameter, and I've also got the spike options on them. To add these wheels I'm going to need to make some new axles, which I'm going to be making out of a paper clip. Off camera I trim the axles to the correct length before gluing the wheels onto them. To make the front wheels look a lot less stock, I did my usual trick of taking a drawing pin to make some armoured hubcaps. With these glued into place, I had some spikes which are made up from some scrap styrene that I'd cut into triangles. For the shooting platform itself, I decided I was going to use a small hatchback and just cut the roof off. So I ended up choosing this Matchbox Austin Mini Cooper. I did a bit of playing around figuring out where I'm going to mount this. Decided it'd be best just to cut the front end off. So I bust out the trusty jeweler saw and make those cuts off camera. And then test fit and realise I need to remove this air scoop on the back of the Jeep. I also test fit with a 172 scale Dark Alliance figure in the back and realise I need to trim down where the wheel arches used to be to make it nice and flat. So after cutting a bit more of both castings, everything now fits together much nicer. Next I want to add this machine gun barrel, which is from the Auto Kill Secret Agent sprue. After masking out the window slits, I mark out where I'm going to mount the gun. And then I use my sprue cutters to carefully cut the glass part, making sure not to crack or cause the glass to shatter because it's very fragile. With the whole cut I do a little test fit before gluing the gun to the dashboard of the interior piece. Moving on to the front, my initial plan was to mount this spare wheel similar to the front wheels to make some kind of makeshift ram, but I figured I might as well just use one of the rams from my bits box. So I used this Anvil Industries ram that I already had. After test fitting, I decided I wanted to remove the Jeep's front bumper. With that taken off, I'll add that to my bits box for a future build. But as you can see, the new ram now fits flush against the body, which I think looks much better. After this, since I wasn't modelling an interior, I assembled the Jeep. Before I can attach the Mini, I need to fill in the gap at the back. So I'm going to use this C-shaped styrene, which also covers up the open wheel arches at the back. After a little trimming to get the piece to fit, I can glue it into place. Obviously I do the same for the other side, and then I just glue a piece of scrap styrene to fill the rest of the gap. I can then glue the Mini to the Jeep. Next I use some L-shaped styrene to make the brackets, to make it look like the Mini is being bolted to the bed of the Jeep. I also add some flat styrene strips to the wheel arches as additional supports, just to give the idea that this thing is being bolted into the back of the Jeep. I then add a Ramshackle Games oil drum to the back for a dropper weapon. This can be either an oil dropper, a napalm dropper, or a glue dropper. Haven't made up my mind yet, but it'll serve for all three. And then use some H-shaped styrene to make the brackets holding the barrel in place. I also add some lower brackets made out of some square styrene tube. I also cut some different sizes of styrene circular tube to make the nozzle that will spray out the contents of the barrel. After flicking through the rulebook, looking for a sponsor that would suit this build, and being inspired by Wasteland's Raceways battle reports, showing the effectiveness of the harpoon. I figured Scarlett, or Scarlett Ann, as also known, would be a perfect sponsor for this build, since a lot of their perks revolve around crew, boarding and disboarding enemy vehicles. Because they're modern day pirates, I figured a weapon that could both tether and drag opponent vehicles towards you would be perfect for this kind of team. Kind of going with that pirate theme, I wanted to have a harpoon mounted on either side, like you'd have cannons on a pirate ship. For the harpoons, I used this harpoon and net launcher from Autokill's Fat Boy sprue, cutting off the barrels and making new ones out of some styrene tube. This wasn't necessary, but I intend to animate with this, and so I wanted the harpoons to be able to be removed so I can animate them being fired. I also make some harpoons out of some styrene tube. Some triangles I cut from styrene scrap. I then cut some more styrene tube to make spare spear holders, which I mount inside the Mini. Next I need to make platforms to mount the harpoon guns on either side. For this I just use a piece of scrap styrene. Cutting it to length and then drilling a hole to mount the harpoon gun to. Once I'm happy with how everything fits, I then glue it into place. I also cut some L-shaped styrene to make the brackets holding the platform up. Now it's on to the mandatory rivet montage. For the rivets I just cut up some square styrene tube and then applied them like so. And here we have the final build before paint. Off camera I did a few tweaks here and there, just mostly fixing some fitment issues, capping off the bottoms of the harpoon guns so they're fixed in place, as well as adding some spaces to the rear wheels so they're more in line with the front wheels. Onto the painting. I start with a base coat of Revell Aquacolor Rust, followed by a stippling of Revell Aquacolor Aluminium and Steel over the exposed metal parts to give them that nice rusty effect. For the body, I stipple on some Revell Aquacolor Sky, which I didn't like the results of, so I just repainted it. For the Minis body, I use Revell Aquacolor Olive Grey. Off camera, I painted all the little details so I could skip ahead to applying a homemade black wash, which was going to blend everything together and give it that nice wasteland look. And here we are with the finished build. Now, you may have noticed throughout the paint section some pieces were added, such as the rear exhaust pipes and the flagpole with the Jolly Roger. I did initially try and paint the Jolly Roger onto the doors of the Jeep, but it looked awful, so I just repainted them back to the body colour. I also remembered I had some Orc decals which would have been perfect for this, but unfortunately I seem to have misplaced them and have no idea where they are, which is something I plan to come back to and redo, either after I've gotten better at drawing the Jolly Roger or if I just find some more suitable decals, and try and do this for future Scarlett build or Scarlett and builds. Unfortunately, this video is a little late as I've been quite ill for the past few weeks. But if you enjoyed my video, you should certainly check out the others who took part in this challenge by searching Diecast Mafia Jeep Challenge. Diecast Mafia is hosted by BJ Customs and Mad Eye Miniatures, who again I'd also suggest you go and check out. Anyhow, I hope you stick around for the glamour shots and the short animation, and I'll see you all in the next video.